With the release of the Lucky65 in the past 5 months, people have been raging about how cheap the board was with what you're getting. Now it's back, but better, with new features, whilst maintaining the price that we desired for this board. This is the Lucky65 version 2. Yo, I am fortunate enough to have both versions on me right now and will compare them in this video. So, what changed? Well, for the visuals, the design hasn't changed that much. It still has the same top piece, however, the side bezels of the V2 seem to be thinner than the V1 if you look closely. The V2 now comes with an FR4 plate with flex cuts rather than the PC plate with the V1, a new backweight design that comes in crystal black or silver depending on what color you chose. For instance, I have the silver anode with the black crystal weight, but you can pick other variants of this board, so be your guess. The middle accent piece is where the dongle resides, which does remind me of some boards like the Lucky65 V2 Classic. It now also supports a new ball catch mounting system, which is a huge step to the screw-in mounting system if you like to tinker the board a lot, which we will be doing. But before we dig in and configure this board, let's hear the stock sound test. For this board, I'll be using the Frankenswitches that I made. These are tactile switches consisting of Adjust brown stem and Z-Friend Panda silent housing consisting of a polycarbonate top housing and a PA66 palm housing, and a Run KS3 blacks for the spacebar, paired with Eviil AI Keycaps. And we'll take a listen of the stock sound test. The board sounds like any other foam build. The typing feels rigid but still has that bouncy feel considering all the foams are still installed. Some ticking does occur in the stock stabilizers, which can be fixed with a bit of tuning. Though I did hear some reverb coming out of the spacebar, which is odd. This may need a force break mod to get the best sound out of it. To open up the board, simply pull up the top case and it will pop right out. Checking out the bottom case, we get the case foam and the foam sheet that protects the PCB to get in contact with the metal case. Removing them, we see the daughter board and the screw mounts for the back weight. Behind the weight, there is a 3750 mAh battery that is just hanging there without any tape nor support. You can just put double-sided tape on the battery so it won't just rattle inside the housing. For the plate assembly, it comes with an FR4 plate as aforementioned, a power and plate foam, a nice PE sheet, and a PET sheet. As far as I know, you can still use the plates that were supported at the V1, which is a plus, considering I want to reuse my carbon fiber plate on the V2. Though do mind, the V1 plate does block the restart button that is displayed through the FN and control key. Checking out the PCB, it is a 1.2mm flex cut PCB. The board supports a split spacebar and a ISO layout, and it uses non-branded hot swap sockets and has gasket sleeves. Though the board also has a 1.6mm non-flex cut version, but it is explicitly available for Vietnamese consumers only, which is a bummer. And it now supports QMK and VIA, which is a huge upgrade to the board. I've had some weird experiences with the V1 drivers, which I need to update with some sketchy files that the courier gave me. So I am glad that they transitioned to a more easier way of configuring your board. The switch from the wired to wireless is still at the same spot where the tab key is located, and there is a restart button in between the FN and control key to restart its default settings. Even though the board is PCB gasket mounted, it doesn't make sense that they didn't apply any support for PCB mounted stabilizers. which is a bummer. Now we'll be doing the board with no foams to see how can it hold up to itself. We will still be using the same parts as earlier, and I will also be tuning up the stabilizers to negate the ticking noise. And here is how it sounds. There was some case resonance coming from the backspace and more on the spacebar. But for no foams though, this still sounded nice and full, considering having 1.2mm PCB with flex cuts. Though, the sound depends if you used a long or short pull switch. Adding plate foam or taping the flex cuts would make this way better. And possibly the addition of force brake to negate the pinginess of the case because of the metal contact. But that is all for me now. If you stick to the end, I highly appreciate the effort as these videos take a while to make. Hope you liked and subscribed, and I will see you next time. Peace.